Hi everyone, Medyhne here at Arise Humanity on YouTube and Soul Family on Rumble. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just reporting back to everyone on the results of my biomagnetism session with Lisa Bruff following our last interview on her wonderful work that she's brought to Australia. So I am going to share with you now some video footage from the session showing Lisa in action with this work. And I'm going to give you the results after I've played those videos so that you can hear how it went. It's the 8th of 2024, which adds up to 8. So it's the 8th of the 8th of the 8th Lionsgate today. I hope that you have had an amazing manifesting day today. It's a very powerful portal or opportunity to create your best life. So it's a really, really good day today to do a video and to also manifest and meditate and focus on the things that you're wanting to bring into your life. The 8th of the 8th of the 8th is really quite significant. So that's very exciting. And I will just share as a little clue to how the session went that it was wonderful. So I hope you enjoy this information on these biomagnetism healing sessions or this modality. You can, of course, contact Lisa. I'll leave all her information below again in the description. And if it resonates with you, why not give it a go? It's wonderful now to work on our own self-healing and nurturing ourselves as best as we can through this very quite intense period of transition of the earth at this time. So enjoy, and I'll see you at the end with the results. So I'm here for my biomagnetic session. Is that how I say it? Biomagnetism session with Lisa. And Lisa's just going to explain a little bit about what the session's about today.
Yep. Okay, so biomagnetism is a neat process where we find and neutralize what's called a biomagnetic pair. And a biomagnetic pair is 2 points in the body that are polarized. So like everything in nature, if you've got a spot that's too alkaline, you've got to have a spot that's too acidic, and they are related to each other in their formation, and they resonate with each other because of that connection. So the whole process involves me having a look at the intake form. We go over what sort of conditions or what sort of symptoms, what the client might want to work on. And then we ask the body. We just check everything in the body that could be out of balance, that could be contributing to the issues that the client's experiencing. And it's not the same thing for every condition. So 2 people with fibromyalgia may have 2, 3, 4 different causes. And their causes, it can have various layers as well. So just like any other energetic phenomenon, the strongest energy will actually hide some weaker ones. So we do have a few layers to work through when we do biomagnetism. Occasionally we can have those one-hit wonders in that someone will have one session and all symptoms are gone.
Sure, yes.
But it depends on, just the way the energy is arranged in the body, and everyone is so different.
Yeah.
But most people need a few sessions to relieve their symptoms.
Right.
And we're going.
Perfect.
Lung, mala, mandible, manubrium, mediastinum, mastoid, neck of the femur, nose, occipital, omentum, orbital floor, ovaries.
like sessions that you need, like today, like really a sense of like to get to the optimal point, how many sessions you need?
After completing 2, then we get a much better idea of what's left.
Sure.
But yeah, some things like acute illnesses, we know we only need 1 or 2 sessions.
Sure. Yeah.
But with things that are chronic and that people with a bit of life experience, that after the 2nd complete treatment, we get an idea of how far we've come and what might be left to go, and then we'll have a better idea.
Great.
Esophagus, esophageal hiatus, palm, pancreas, pancreas duct, pancreatic ligament, paranasal sinus, parotid pericardium, perihepatic, perirenal, peritoneal, pineal, pituitary, polo, popliteus, postpineal, prepineal, preauricular, prostate, progento, pylorus, quadratus, quadriceps, radius, rectum, renal calyx. Let's check the other side as well.
So how many magnets have we got so far?
Oh, let me see, about 12.
12 magnets. Okay, cool.
So magnets can be tricky. The same poles don't want to sit right next to each other, but sometimes we need to do that. So we use metal bars to attach them to hold them still.
Okay.
And they cooperate.
Sure.
Renal capsule, sacrum, scar tissue, stump, shoulder, sigmoid, spleen, sternum, sternocleidomastoid, subclavian, supraciliary, suprahepatic, suprapubic, supraspinatus, temple, temporal, temporal-occipital, tensorfascial latte, testicle, thoracic, T2, T5, T6, T8, T10, thymus, thyroid, tibia, tongue, tooth, trachea, transverse colon, ulna.
Are you getting a sense overall of what things are being worked on, or like as you're working, or
Yeah.
in a picture?
Yeah, each biomagnetic pair usually has certain sort of symptoms, or they involve certain systems of the body, so you get a bit of an idea, but we don't like to guess and we don't like to assume.
Sure.
So we let the body speak.
Sure. Body loves to communicate to us, doesn't it? That's what's going on.
So one really interesting thing that is coming up at the moment
Yes.
is you've got some pairs related to chronic virals. Everybody carries chronic virals in the body.
Yep.
If you've ever had a cold sore, if you've ever had a wart in the body,
Yes.
everybody has.
Yes.
That even if we don't have a symptom, they sit in our nerves, they're still there, and they're creating other problems.
Yes.
And we have problems with chronic virals. What I'm seeing here is whenever we have problems in our life and we don't know what the right answer is, when we have moral suffering, it's called.
Right.
So we don't know what's right or wrong, if this is the right move or not, especially
Yes.
with the foot being involved.
Yes.
I don't know what the right move is.
Yes.
So whenever we have conflict around our day-to-day life and making decisions to do with pretty important things usually.
Yeah, which is
So
coming up for me at the minute. Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
that what I'm seeing is some pairs that come up when when we have moral suffering. So that's not good and bad in terms of a person. Morality is knowing what the right thing to do is, and sometimes it's just about a choice we need to make.
Yes.
For ourselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean, should I do something illegal or unethical? It doesn't necessarily mean that.
Sure.
It might mean, well, am I making the right decision?
Yeah.
For myself and everyone involved.
Yeah.
And so the clearer we are with our emotions, the less we trigger these viruses.
Right.
And the viruses give us symptoms to do with our skin.
Yes.
Or our nervous system in particular.
Sure.
Up here, urethra, vaccine, vagina, vagus, vas deferens, xiphoid appendix, zygomatic arch. Now I will actually explain the next part because it's really interesting.
Right.
Is some of the microbes that might be flourishing in the body and creating symptoms, sometimes they don't actually respond to the body part where we have the imbalance. Sometimes they only respond to their name. And that through the research with biomagnetism, there's about 20 of these microbes that are harder to find and correct unless we name them by name instead of the body part where they're breeding. So these are things like COVID-19, Babesia, Anisaki. So I'm going to go through those now. Don't be alarmed.
Right.
If any of them come up, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have the microbe. What it can mean is you have a susceptibility to the microbe.
Okay.
And the symptoms won't be as strong if the microbe actually isn't there. But in a lot of cases, the microbe is there, but it's such a low level that it might not be obvious.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
West Nile virus, schistosoma, Anisaki, Agalactiae, yellow fever, GM E. coli, Babesia, Burkholderia, Bartonella, Aurelia, Chlamydia pneumoniae, Chlamydia tucans, Chlamydia intestinalis, Cryptozoides, Chikungunya, Campylobacter, Listeria, Exanthema subitum, H1N1, H1N3, H1N5, H1N7, Ebola, BK virus, Zika, COVID-19, tumor phenomenon, tumor genesis, vascular injury, potential spaces, psychological problems, emotional problems, self-image, deficiency, spiritual, malice, chakras, chromosomes, toxicity, poisoning, hormonal imbalance, medical iatrogenia, EMFs, so I'm going to place some extra pairs now to give the whole body a general hormonal balance as well. Because I think that would be really useful to do.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, next is thyroid.
That you can get quite tired after a session and to need to lie down afterwards, is that right?
It can be the case. It depends what's out of balance. So, because all we're doing is balancing the pH and restoring normal function.
Yeah.
If your true state is actually to being quite tired because you haven't had enough rest, you've had too much stress, it's going to return you to that feeling of I am tired, because the body's intelligent. When you feel tired, you rest more.
Yes.
Sometimes we override the feeling of tiredness and just get on with life.
Yes.
And so if you've got false energy from doing that we can feel quite tired after a treatment, because we're restoring you back to where you should be in terms of experiencing some tiredness if you were actually tired.
Yeah.
Some people actually just have a burst of energy because they had artificially low energy before the balance.
Yes.
So we never know for sure. It varies a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, so Medyhne has all the magnets in place that she needs for her balance today. There's about a 16-minute deactivation time. It takes 16 minutes in Brisbane to neutralise the biomagnetic pairs. But sometimes we'll go a little bit longer because it feels so good to have these magnets on. It's deeply, deeply relaxing. And if you need a good rest, we can go longer. So I'm going to wrap Medyhne up now and give her a rest.
So relaxing. Just want to go to sleep.
Hi everyone, great to see you again, and I would love to share with you some of the results of my session with biomagnetism and Lisa. So just to give you a bit of a recap, biomagnetism works with the pH levels of your body. It brings the polarities back into balance, and it works not only on the physical vehicle, therefore, but also on the emotional body and things as well. So when I went into the session, just for transparency, I was feeling pretty crappy, to be honest, because I've had a big sort of a life decision looming right at the minute. And I've been working with that, and it was pretty big. So it has brought up a lot of stuff. It's felt quite overwhelming. I wasn't feeling that great. I had different issues, like my left foot was playing up, and which is, often about moving forward. And, a few different things were coming up. So I didn't feel that good when I went in. So it was like absolutely perfect timing for a session. And we did this session, and then what happened was I think I felt pretty sort of flat for a lot of the day on that day afterwards. Felt sort of, I think I was just integrating and processing. It might have brought up a little bit more stuff as well as I was integrating after having the magnets put all over me. While I did this session, it was incredibly relaxing. I just felt so deeply relaxed. It was beautiful. So it doesn't really bring anything up during the session, but after this session, I could feel, stuff sort of just processing and working through. And I did feel a bit grungy. The good news is I woke up the next day and I felt good, really good. I felt like I'd shifted through some of the stuff that I had been working with that had been overwhelming, and I felt much lighter, much more able to deal with all these challenges that have been coming up, in everyday life, and also this particular issue that I was working with. And so I felt much clearer energetically, and like I was more able to sort of process the things that I'm working on. So it was very positive experience. I did feel like I let go of some old things that didn't serve me anymore and that were perhaps holding me back, and my energy was lighter and freer and more able to really be at my best. So very happy with the results. Lisa did recommend at least one more session to sort of get true clarity on perhaps what issues were the major ones for me to work on. She made lists of me of a few things that were being worked on in the first session, but she said there's often the layers. And so the first session gets rid of some layers, and the second session often gives you a clearer indication of exactly what you're working with because you've released some of the previous layers. I'll just see if there's any other things in my notes to share with you on this. So she did mention the areas of my body that were in need of a bit of a boost, things like liver, pancreas, and a few other things. She acknowledged a general stress pattern that the biomagnetism was working on for me. And then she brought in the emotional aspect of it and what I was working on. And, you know, it was all very relevant for what working with at the minute. She even brought up, funnily enough, a situation when I was in year 12 at school, and I was given the opportunity. It's a funny story, I should share it. We had a very well-known Reverend Tom Stokes who had a radio show on 3XY, and he was very well known at the time, and he was our sort of like priest or reverend at my school that I was at. And I used to be asked to sing all the time, to sing at different, you know, services and occasions at the school and things, because they wanted me to sort of utilize my singing voice and perform. And I even did a concert at lunchtime. They asked me to do one time. And so then he was in charge of the Carols by Candlelight. He was in charge of organizing it. And he said that he would like me to sing solo at Carols by Candlelight when I was in it was either year 11 or 12. I think it was 12 actually. And to me, the concept of that was way too scary. Just visualizing that sea of people and all the candles, I thought, oh, you know, at an unconscious level, I think I had a bit of a mini heart attack. Anyway, so the long story short was I got glandular fever. And so the glandular fever, which Lisa mentioned, is something that comes up because we feel very overwhelmed by something that's in our life, which was very accurate for what was happening back then. I felt very overwhelmed, got glandular fever, and then of course I couldn't do it. So surprise, surprise, I managed to evade that opportunity somehow. So everything, I guess, in divine alignment. So yeah, that was really interesting that she picked that up, and that was still, I was still holding an element of that in my body that she had to clear, which is, you know, quite fascinating. So I hope that this is helpful and that you get a lot from these two videos. If you think that they can benefit anyone else, please share the videos and leave your comments below if you have anything that you'd like to comment on. And thank you so much for watching the latest video. Lots of love to everyone out there. Bye.